Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arlen Podcast. My name is Eli Detter. I hope that either if you're listening to this to start your day off, that you have an amazing day. If you're listening to this in the middle or the end of your day, I hope it has been great and it will continue to be a good day for you. I wanted to actually share something that I've started doing recently. I recently actually bought a journal, and in that journal, I've been over the past 3 nights. I've just been writing, filling out one page of the journal, and just writing whatever my heart kind of desired to write. And it's kind of interesting, you know, because what I do is I just turn my music on and I just start writing, and I don't think about who might be reading this. I write what I need to write, and I think it's a really amazing thing that it's powerful because it's not me thinking, oh, I think this is what someone needs to hear. No, this is simply me writing what I want to write. So it allows me to kind of get my viewpoint out. And I've been posting some of it online or on social media just for people to read. I'm not going to send out every single thing that I write, but at the same time, I want people to see that, you know, just because I kind of was talking about to my friend earlier about this thing called a theory of illusion, where just because you appear to be something doesn't mean that is what you are. I mean, that is what you are to some people, meaning some people will only ever see you for this or that if you try and appear as that. But who you are is who you are. Who you appear to be does not mean that is who you are. And just because someone appears to be happy or smiling all the time, or they appear to be fine, does not mean in fact that they are. It simply means that that is what they have learned to appear to you. Maybe it's because it's what they want you to believe they are. Um, and I am speaking a lot from experience that will I often attempt and try my best to come across as always joy filled or whatever, as what people would call happy. And the truth isn't that I'm like sad all the time. The truth is just that there's a lot of things that I don't say, or I don't talk about, or I just kind of keep to myself. And not because I think I need to hide things, but simply because there are some things that are for me to deal with. Um, and for that reason, that there are lots of things and lots of times that I wish I could just like sometimes just scream out everything I was thinking, just yell it, and I'm just like I can't. And it's not. It's just because sometimes that's what I have to deal with that. I have to live with that. I can't. I feel like sometimes when people do that, it's like they're projecting it onto the universe, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to like burden the universe because I'm suffering. I don't want to make everyone else feel bad. I'm not one of those people that walks into a room when they're something bad really just happened. They're like, oh my god, something terrible happened. No, I kind of don't really ever say anything. If something terrible happens to me, rarely ever do I really say something about it. I kind of just brush it off and move on. Not because I don't think it's important, but because I don't think it's something that I need to focus on. I realize that I don't need to focus on every bad thing that happens in my life, because truth be told, my life is pretty damn great, and there's no reason to spend it dawdling over all the small insignificant stuff that happens. So when people ask me, hey, what's up, what's wrong, I usually just say, oh, don't worry about it. It's just, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it today. And it's not me trying to hide who I am. It's not me trying to hide myself. It's just me realizing they don't need that right now. They have other stuff that they should be focusing on, not me. Um, and I don't want to. I don't know. It's hard to do that without coming across as you're trying to hide something, or you know you're trying to be like, oh, you couldn't handle it or you couldn't deal with it. But it quite simply is that I don't want them to have to deal with it. I don't want them to have to be thinking about that. They should be focused on other things, so I'm not gonna disrupt that. I have lived a life where where I have been the person who was dramatic about something bad happening to me, and I've lived a life where have been the person where it has been so nice not having to be dramatic all the time. Just realizing that sometimes there is a beauty in not always, shouting out to the world everything that's happening in your life. Which is why this journal is so great for me, because it allows me to get out what I need to say when I need to say it without trying to think about, oh, this is what other people need to hear. No, it's my story. It's my version of the events that unfolded. So it's really amazing. I will continue to talk about it over the course of the podcast. But what I actually really what I wanted to kind of enlighten on was what I wrote last night. Last night I wrote a passage about love. I am actually, give me 1 second, I'm actually going to pull up the passage that I wrote. I had posted this on one of my social media, and I'm actually going to read this. Love, it neither begins or ends. It is simply existent in all things. Who do I love? Everyone, I suppose. I don't have time to decide who does and doesn't deserve my love. I surround myself with people who have proven they love me. Loving doesn't exist without pain. To accept someone's love is to accept the undeniable possibility that they will hurt you at some point. It usually hurts more and it's harder to forgive, but once we do forgive them, the bond grows greater. I've pretty much hurt everyone that I've ever loved. I wasn't honest, I stole from them, I made them think they were the problem when in fact I was. And yet the faithful ones, the true faithful ones, stand by me today. Resolute and strong are they that withstand the shocks that mortal flesh is heir to, strong and resolute indeed. Now that last, if you recognize that last part, mortal flesh is heir to, that took that from popular Shakespeare monologue, to be or not to be, or at the end he's like, to be or not to be, that is the question whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the thousand shocks mortal flesh is heir to. I for some reason I love that monologue. It's like my favorite monologue of all of the ones from Shakespeare's popular, poems and plays. It's beauty. Actually, it says, to be or not to be, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand mortal natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. The heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. That sentence right there is very interesting. It's saying that when we die, we finally escape from the life of pain that we live just as being human. That we no longer have to suffer the pain of loving someone and then having that love being taken away from you, of people in your life that you cared about just leaving. When we die, all that goes away and we are allowed to finally rest. But while we are here, it's also saying it is undeniable that we are going to suffer. It doesn't mean that the suffering that we go through is what we deserve. It's simply what is natural. It is the thousand natural shocks. It is the natural occurrence of unrequited love. It is the natural occurrence of the death of a loved one. It is the natural occurrence of falling and bruising yourself. It is 1,000 natural things in your life that will happen simply because you are alive, not because you are a good person or you are a bad person, but simply because you are a person. It will happen to you. The difference in what this is saying and what most people think is, it's not saying, oh, if you're good, good things will happen to you. If you're bad, bad things will happen to you. No, it's saying good or bad, simply because you are alive, think bad things are going to happen to you. Me personally, I do not believe in the theory that, oh, good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. I don't believe that because I don't think that's how life works. I look at it more on the more spiritual and the more on the spiritual side of things, and I don't believe that God is one of those that's like, oh, if you do good things will happen to you. If you do bad things will happen to me. It's more, if you follow His path, good things will happen to you. If you don't, then bad things are to follow, and not necessarily bad things, but it's just natural consequences. And that is one of the most powerful things you can be, is like, natural consequences usually will take care of you. Like, almost punishments really are so insignificant compared to the natural consequence of your actions. That was kind of something my parents taught me. A lot of times they would say, you punish yourself more than we ever could, because if you don't take care of yourself, that's a bigger punishment to yourself than any parent or any law enforcement can ever inflict on you. You got to take care of yourself and all that, because if you don't, again, that's just a bigger punishment on yourself. That's hurting yourself. That's not helping anyone. So realize and learn that you you can't escape what is destined. Well, you can't not destined. You can't escape what is natural in this world. You can't escape the things that happen to every single person. Pain is gonna happen. Heartache is gonna happen. All that stuff's gonna happen. Not because you're a bad person. You could be great. You could be terrible. Whatever. The same things probably end up gonna end up happening to you. It is not. You just have to learn that not everything is your fault. I think a lot of people think, oh, this thing happened to me. It must be my fault. It must be because of something I did. That is not always the case. Yes, sometimes things happen as a result of our actions, but I would say actually very rarely, when just a natural thing happens, is it because of something you did. And I think that's something that we all need to learn, is that not everything that goes on in this world is of our fault or of anyone's fault. Sometimes it just happens. And that's a hard thing to accept. I feel like sometimes we almost want to think that it's our fault, because it might be easier for us to assume that it's our fault than to assume it is just something that happened. It might be easier to assume, oh, this thing wasn't here for me because I cheated on this test, or whatever, karma's getting back to me, and that's why this happened. I don't know. That's an easy explanation, right? That's easy for us to say. It's harder for us to be like, oh yeah, it just happened. It's just, we couldn't control it. It just happened, because we want to have control over everything. For some reason, we desire control over like every aspect of our life. And I think if we really kind of look back on it, we're like, why do we need that control? Why do we feel the need to command control over everything? Are we so insecure about our lives that unless we have control over everything, our lives don't mean as much, or they're just not as good? And I would venture to say that, honestly, not having control is so much more fun. Not having control over everything that happens allows you to be surprised, allows you to be excited, allows you to be joy-filled when new things happen. It allows you to not worry. When you're not in control of everything, it doesn't mean that, oh, you're not good enough. It just means maybe you just don't need to have control over everything. Maybe what you're trying so hard to control or master, or whatever it is, maybe it's not as important as you might think it is. Which is why the universe is saying, or universe or God or whatever you want to believe, is saying, look, you just don't need to have control over this. You just don't need that. What you need is to lay back, relax, live in the moment, survive just not knowing what's going to happen next, but also knowing that you're going to be taken care of. If you worry too much that, oh, what I need to have happen is going to happen, it's probably not going to happen, because you're going to end up sabotaging it. But if you are faithful and you believe that you will be taken care of, if you just allow it to happen, it is going to happen. It's going to be much easier for you if you just sometimes take a break and relax and sit back. There is no reason at all to be spending your whole life worrying and fretting about every little thing. There's no need at all, because it doesn't help you. I always say, don't do things that don't benefit you in any way possible. Helping someone else benefits you. It does. It builds a relationship with that person. It builds a friendship with that person. But wasting your time on someone that doesn't reciprocate that is not worth it. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. It really isn't. And it's not because they're not worth the time and the effort. It's because they're not willing to put that time and effort into you. You should not be wasting time and effort on them. And you can argue, oh, it's not wasting time and effort if you love them. No, it is. Because if they love you, then they would know not to waste your time. They would know to respect your time, respect your efforts. I don't want to be the person that says, oh, if someone loves you, they'll do this, someone loves you, they'll do that. No. But I do know that there is a good, there's usually, you can usually tell. You can usually know if someone is doing something out of selfishness, if someone's just doing something because they really need you at that moment. But if someone is just like taking and taking and taking all your time and all your effort, and they're not ever giving anything back, it's ridiculous, and that's not something you need to worry about. It's not something you need to focus on, because it's not you at that point. It's not you. Yes, they see you as a good resource, which is awesome, but at the same time, they're using you for more than you have the capabilities to give them. And that's where it gets, that's where it's not cool. That's where I would draw the line. I would say, no, you know what? As much as I love you, I cannot allow you to use me in this way and to abuse me in this way. So don't take it as, oh, I'm not worth it when someone stops giving into you when you're not giving them anything. Look at it as, maybe I need to start giving to other people. Maybe I need to start treating them with the respect that they deserve. Maybe I need to start showing them that they are worth my effort. I think that was one of the big things that when I kind of switched around my whole viewpoint on life last year, I kind of realized that, maybe I was spending too much time, and I say maybe, but I know I was spending too much time focused on how other people were helping me than on how I was helping them. And that's where, you kind of find that dichotomy where you're like, no, it should be the other way around. How am I helping other people? How am I assisting them? How am I helping them be better people? How am I showing them, things that are worth it? How am I showing them that they are worth it? And that's kind of what I want you all to if anything, take away from this podcast ever, take that away. You should worry more about how you are helping other people than what are they doing for you. Don't ever expect anything from anyone if you aren't willing to do the same. Don't ever expect a present or whatever from them if you are not willing to turn around and do the same for them. If you are, wonderful. Doesn't mean you should expect it, but it means that hey, I would do this for them, so knowing that, I trust them that they would do it for me. That is the true feeling that you should have. Not that, oh, they better do this for me. Oh, they have to do this for me. No. You should look at it as, hey, I would do this for them. And I think they know that. So I can trust that they would do this for me. And if you know that, and if you can internalize that, and if you can live with that, that's wonderful. If you are a person that's like, well, no, they have to do that. They have to. How are they not going to do it? Then, again, that's where it's like you can't demand that of people. You can't demand that they're just going to do that for you. I don't expect really anyone to do things for me like that. I don't demand my friends to do stuff. I don't demand people I know to do stuff. I say, hey, can you do this? Are you able to do this? And if they can't, all right, fine. We'll figure it out. I'll help them, whatever. Yes, I'm good at getting things done, but I'm also good at knowing the customer, so to speak, knowing who I'm talking to, knowing their capabilities, knowing their abilities, knowing their character and all that stuff. And that's how I decide how I ask them. If I say, hey, let's get this done, let's do this. Or if I say, hey, are you available to do this day? I'll help you with it. We'll get this done together, whatever. Know your customer, know who you're talking to, have a good relationship with people too before you ask them for stuff. But at the same point, be smart and be wise when you are trying to get something done or you want something from someone. Learn what the right way and the wrong way is to get something from someone. Be respectful to them, be polite to them, but get to the point. Now, I don't have a whole lot left on to talk about with this podcast here, but so I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon here. What I wanted to really drive home to you guys is, with this journal that I'm writing, what I'm realizing is it's so healthy to just sit down 15 minutes. That's all I'm spending at most, from maybe 10:30 to 10:45 every night. That's how much time I'm spending. And I'm just sitting down, I'm writing in the journal. I'm not thinking about anyone or anything. I'm just writing about whatever I want to write about. Usually it's about a topic. Maybe tonight I'll write about a person. Maybe I'll write about an experience I had. It's just me. It's my truth. It's how I feel about a thing, about someone, about who I am. So you don't have to abide by the rules. There is no rules. There is nothing that you can and can't say. You just write. So I encourage all of you to do the same thing. Get a journal or on your phone. Just write. Let out whatever is hidden away inside your heart, because if you don't, I promise you it's going to come out later in your life, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty ugly. It's going to be pretty nasty when it comes out later in your life and you're stuck here wondering, well, why the hell did I do that all this time? So I beg of you, don't allow yourself to fall into the thinking that you have to hold it all in and you can't release it. Let it go. Please let it go. Because it's unfair to the rest of the world for you to get mad at them when they don't know what they did. So, with that, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Please, truly think about what I'm saying. Think about where you are in your life. Think about what you're doing. Make smart choices. Don't just make impulsive ones. Though I can understand making the impulsive one or two. They're pretty fun. They kind of, I don't know, they're easy to make. I make impulsive decisions all the time. I can't blame you for that. But just pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to your mind. Pay attention to your body. Take care of yourself, please. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eli Detter. This is the Arlen Podcast. You know where to find us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have had a wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves, guys. We are slowly coming to the end of the year, and it's going to get more and more stressful as the holidays start to come. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of your friends. Love yourself. Love your family. Love your friends. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you all, and goodbye.